Tens of trillions of dollars are being extracted from the United States of America.
10,000 bucks? 10,000 bucks? 10,000 bucks? 10,000 bucks? 10,000 bucks? 10,000.
Tens of trillions of dollars are being extracted from the United States of America.
10,000 bucks? 10,000 bucks? 10,000 bucks?
Well, let's remember, they deregulated the regulations in the 1930s, like the Glass-Steagall Act, which would have prevented the too big to bail out banks from becoming too big, and they did nothing to stop the too bigs from even growing bigger.
Basically, we've been in a crisis now since the middle of 2007. Between 2009 and earlier this year, we had what we called a recovery. But the truth of it is, the only things that recovered were banks, insurance companies, big corporations, and the stock market that they dominate. The government helped all of them. But the recovery bypassed the vast majority of Americans. It was a modern version of what used to be called trickle-down economics. You help the top, and you hope it trickles down to everybody else. Bottom line, it never trickled. The mass of people have high unemployment, high foreclosures, falling wages, falling benefits at the job. And the bottom line of what's happening in the stock market is, if you don't help the mass of people, if you don't change the economic situation at the base, then eventually that'll come back and undo the recovery even for the people at the top. And that's what we're seeing, and it's terrifying investors around the world as they begin to recognize this is a serious, long, deep recession that may become a depression.
Financial osphere, so that Corzine can say it's impossible to determine without some doubt that the money was actually here when it was actually there, and you can't occupy a particle and speed at the same time, and I was actually at that location, I didn't know what was happening in this location, and it's impossible to make this determination, therefore I'm innocent by the virtue of a scattergram pictorial representation of my nonsensical existence as the governor and senator and fraudster-in-chief, where money is mine if I say it's coming out of my ears, and I rehypothecate it within an account that's rehypothecated inside the rehypothecation. It doesn't really exist unless I say it exists. What color is it? What day is it? I don't know. I'm John Corzine. I commit a fraud just going tinkle, tinkle to the bathroom.
Tens of trillions of dollars are being extracted from the United States of America.
Currently, only 5 banks control more than half of all the industry's assets. That's right, the top 5 banks in America own 52% of all the wealth in the financial sector. To put that in perspective, in 1970, the top 5 banks controlled only 17% of the industry's assets. Not only that, the total wealth owned by the top 10 banks in the nation now equals half of America's total GDP, more than $7 trillion of wealth in the hands of the top 5 Wall Street giants.
Of a sum of $50 trillion, and 7 days later, ping, in comes another $50 trillion to the HSBC, and then 3 weeks later, another $50 trillion. Total of $5 trillion in each case. Sorry. Total of $15 trillion is alleged to have been passed into the hands of HSBC for onward transit to the Royal Bank of Scotland. And we need to look to where this came from and what the history of this money is. And I have been trying to sort out the sequence by which this money has been created and where it's come from for a long time. It starts off apparently as the property of a man called Johannes Riardi, who has some claims to be considered the richest man in the world.
Tens of trillions of dollars are being extracted from the United States of America.
Quit after 12 years, writing, "The environment now is as toxic and destructive as I've ever seen it." He writes the company puts itself first ahead of its clients, saying, "It makes me ill how callously people talk about ripping their clients off. Over the last 12 months, I have seen 5 different managing directors refer to their own clients as Muppets."